Welcome to Speaking Cinema, series movie Jibber Jabber, a movie podcast coming to you live from the Perpetual Award Show red carpet of Hollywood, California. Follow us on our various social media sites, Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, you know.
Everything you like and others.
Yeah, we're not on Pinterest though.
We should be.
Yeah, that's not enough hours in the day.
All the pictures of me.
Yeah. I'm your host, Mr. Jibber Jabber. With me today, as always, Kevin.
An award for best host, that goes to you.
Oh,
Isn't that nice?
You set me up for that?
Maybe. I might have said
you son of a bitch. This week, it's Jibber Jabber Year-End Hoedown, our 2015 Year in Review. First annual Hoedown.
That's technically a grammatical error. First annual. So says my reporter friend who work at news.
If we did a hootenanny, could that be first annual?
I'll accept it.
Well, we're not. We're doing a hoedown. Goddamn you. We look back on the year through our popcorn and explosion riddle vision in 3D.
We pay that surcharge.
Not happily, but we pay it. We'll bitch about it on the car right there, and we'll bitch about it all the way home. So let's talk about the year 2015 in film. We'll sum it up in 3 words, then we'll move on to explain it in more words. Kev?
My 3 words for 2015 in film. Like, not love.
Interesting.
Yeah. I felt like last year was just fat with great movies.
Name one.
Grand Budapest Hotel, my favorite of the year. Calvary.
Continue talking.
The Wind Rises. Lots of great films last year. This year I felt like a lot of good films, a lot of interesting films, but not ones that I really latched onto. I definitely had some. I mean, I had to make a top 10 list. I had some. But yeah, just a lot that I felt maybe didn't quite get those high highs that we got last year. So.
Interesting. My 3 words were didn't see enough. Because
those are my 3 words every year. It feels like.
Because I feel like, and we'll get to this later, but there's a list of movies that I didn't get around to this year, and that list is long. And I was like, I went to Wikipedia 2015 in film, and I was going down the list, and I was like adding all this shit, and then I was like, there's even stuff on this list that's not being represented. So I had to go to other websites to find the other things. A lot of Halloween movies I didn't get to see. So in terms of quality, Bret Easton Ellis famously has said that this is the worst year in film in like the last 20 years or whatever. I think that is totally hyperbolic, and just like when you look at the top 10 list, these are some fucking great movies. You know what I mean?
And he wrote The Canyons, motherfucker. You have no opinion.
To be fair, there's lots of things that Bret Easton Ellis says that I don't agree with and I find to be troubling. But The Canyons, when you go into what happened with that movie,
I know.
It fell apart. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
He wrote it, and his name's on it.
But it's
asterisk on you, Brett.
that is his baseball Hall of Fame asterisk. So Kev, do you have? We both of us keep, because we're total nerds. I have a little book. It's around here somewhere. That it has every movie that I watch. I write it down in this little book. You keep the same kind of list as well, right?
I have an Excel sheet that I keep.
Yeah, you're in the 21st century, and I am in the best. Do you have a list? The number of how many movies you watch this year handy?
Of the 2, I don't keep track of. I keep track of what year they come out, not the year I watch it.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a little different from your system where you track every movie you watch.
I'm on metric and you're on standard.
Pretty much. Of 2015 releases, I saw 40 this year. So.
See, I could have. I guess
as an unpaid person with a full-time job, like unpaid movie person who this is his hobby. That's what I got around to see. It was 40.
So my system allows for me to tell you that I watched 105 movies total in this calendar. 106 now with Hateful Eight. 34 of those were in this year.
All right.
So as a working adult, watched 105 movies, which I was actually pretty happy. That's like 2 a week, which I'm like, I don't feel like it was 2 a week.
Yeah, that's a good ratio right there. You know, again, yours is old and new, so you had a good year.
Enough of this mathematical bullshit. It's time to reveal our 2015 top 10 list. The rules. Start from 10, move down to 1. If you could explain why you would picked it, that would help everyone. And why you ranked it where you did. Before we start, I'm going to say that this was very hard for me because my mind does not think in hierarchy.
I rattle off top 10s all the time. I'm like, You seen High Fidelity, John Cusack?
Yes, I did. On Comedy Central, like everyone else.
That's basically my autobiography. That is, I'm constantly listing things.
As we were talking about this episode, when we were coming up with the ideas for this episode, you were saying that you make top 10 lists every year.
Yes.
Quentin Tarantino style.
Yeah.
So,
every single year.
Like, I've never done this. Made a top 10 list of movies in the year.
No, it's fun.
Which is weird because I have this little book here with the little movies written on it. The first one was...
the first movie he's ever seen.
was... From the first entry is May 4th, 2012, The Avengers, which I saw at the Pacific Theater at the Grove.
I was there.
Were you?
Yeah, we went together. You, me, and Johnny, I believe.
Oh, interesting. The second one was Jurassic Park, midnight movie at the New Art on May 18th, 2015.
I was at that one, too.
Wow, son of a bitch. Were you at Skatopia, 88 Acres of Anarchy at my apartment in downtown LA on May 21st, 2012?
Negative.
2012? 2012.
Yeah.
So I've been keeping this list now for 3 fucking years, or at least starting in May. So 2.5 fucking years, and never really done anything with it other than fill up this book, which is now I'm down to the last page. So like, what was your top 10 in 2013? Top 5.
I can remember like top 3s off the top of my head here. So 2013, I've got Inside Llewyn Davis was the best movie of the year, followed by Her and Sound City, great documentary. Last year, from 1 to I'm gonna go 4: Grand Budapest Hotel, Calvary, Whiplash, and The Wind Rises.
Interesting.
My top 4. I've got it written down. I can't remember it.
That's why we have Excel spreadsheets to encapsulate this information,
so that I can fill my head with other bullshit.
Interesting. Well, as you are the resident list maker, we'll start with your number 10. Number 10.
I'm going to kick it off with a couple honorable mentions.
Oh, no, let's do that. Let's go with some honorable mentions.
All right, my honorable mentions, again, movies that I really enjoyed, were great, didn't quite crack my top 10. I've got Sicario, Carol, Going Clear, the documentary on Scientology, which did play in theaters, so it's at the end.
Yeah, technically it did, yes.
And Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Oh!
That is my honorable mentions. Ones that I felt deserved a mention, but didn't quite get in that top 10.
And I guess we should have said this, but I'll say it now. What constitutes a movie in this way is something that was released in theaters, or I guess technically VOD would have counted, but we didn't do that. Yeah. I don't think either of us had any VOD titles. So my honorable mentions of the year were The Intern.
Okay.
It was starring Anne Hathaway.
Nancy Meyers film.
Brooklyn. Dude, Bro, Massacre 3.
Dude, Bro, Party Massacre 3.
Thank you. That's why I didn't make it. Spy.
With Melissa McCarthy.
Okay. And Hateful Eight.
All right.
And
honorable mention.
The Hateful Eight specifically because I saw it as of this recording 4 hours ago, so I cannot...
Haven't quite
digested it enough. It just... That's how that's why, it also kind of highlights the ridiculousness of a hierarchy where it's like, why does a movie that came out in the summertime that I've bought and watched again, Mad Max, get to be on the list, or a movie that I probably would buy and rewatch, Hateful Eight, doesn't? Because that's the way that works.
That's the way the world works, folks.
All right. And also, yeah, all of those movies were pretty dang good.
Oh, yeah, everything. There was a lot of good stuff this year. So.
And I will honorably mention Mission Impossible 5, which did not make my honorable mentions list, nor my top 10, but was still a fantastic movie.
All right. So I'll kick it off here. My number 10 pick. I like movies about professional people doing dangerous work. Potentially dangerous work. And I felt we've got a new classic in that genre in Spotlight. Tom McCarthy's film about journalists examining the Catholic Church in Boston,
right,
and their rampant abuse of children. I thought it was an excellently acted, a brilliantly told story about really some courageous heroes, I think, and it was told in a really great way.
I did not watch that movie for the same reason why I didn't watch 12 Years a Slave, because I didn't want to. I feel like I always get so frustrated watching it. You know what I mean?
This one's not as
Emily saw it.
12 Years a Slave.
Emily saw it, and she said it was a. It's kind of not like a whodunit, but it has a movement because they're trying to figure out things, and they figure out something, and then they got to do this, and they got to fact check it this way, and they got to get this guy to say something, and You know, then they got to reach out and maybe no one knows about this other thing, and it just moves and moves and moves and moves.
Yep. It's a lot of just great performances, great film. Had to put it in my list. Number 10, Spotlight.
Number 10, you liked movies about people doing a job. I believe that's what you just said mere seconds ago.
Indeed.
I like movies about robots.
Do you now?
Ex Machina, my number 10.
Excellent.
It's a fantastic fucking movie, excellently made. I think I do need to see it again just to wrap my mind around it more. But it's stayed with me. A great science fiction tale, you know, about what it means to be alive and
might be coming up.
Power.
Might be coming up a little later on my list.
Interesting.
All right, number 9. I love Charlie Kaufman. And it's great to have him back. I have Anomalisa, number 9. His foray into stop motion. I did get to see this with a Q&A screening with Charlie Kaufman and Duke Johnson. That was really informative. But I thought this movie was extremely strange, but extremely human and very touching overall. And it stars puppets.
Right. Another movie that I have not watched this year this one I did want to...
I did go, I'll qualify it, I went to a very early screening.
Yeah.
And that was like one time on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's like just coming out in general release now.
And I really want to see it. I'm a big stop motion fan, so I'm glad to know it's good, and I want to check it out.
Some of the best animation I've seen in a stop motion movie. It's very fluid and very evocative.
And it seems like they shot it like it's a regular movie.
Yeah.
There's
like one take shots in it that are like moving camera.
Right. Which you can totally do these
stop
days.
Motion?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Well,
that's hard.
That's cool, though. Number 9, Pitch Perfect 2.
Ooh, all right.
I like songs. Kev, you know this about me, but I'll share this with everyone who listens. I like songs about 2 things. Thing 1, blood. Thing 2, Satan. Pitch Perfect, a musical, like, you know, they're doing a cappella stuff. No songs about blood. No songs about Satan. But I love this fucking movie. It's totally fun. So much so that I bought the soundtrack and actually listened to it for a few months. So if a movie can make me listen to acapella versions of Miley Cyrus and fucking, you know, that kind of Destiny, that kind of shit, then they're doing something right.
All right. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
I did not get around to Pitch Perfect 2.
You famously don't like Pitch Perfect 1,
I did not
though.
like Pitch Perfect
So
1.
I'm not sure that there's going to be anything here that's going to win you over if you didn't like 1. But it also, as a sequel, it works out really well, right? Where in the first one, she's in the beginning of her college career. This one is more, she's like, they're passing it off. It's just a great movie.
All right. Works for me. Number 8. A rare thing in my top 10 list. I have a tie at number 8.
How dare you?
I know. I had these 2 films and I could not put one.
And both of them really sang of number 8.
They were both solid 8s. You know, I've got Ex Machina as one of them. Again, great evocative story about what does it mean to be human, what does it mean to be alive, with 3 fantastic performances at the center of it. Tied with that, I felt another film that had 3 very good performances in the middle of it that I just couldn't quite feel put over, but explored some similar themes in a different way, was Crimson Peak. Guillermo del Toro's, we did our episode on it. Check us out on Speaking Cinema. Again, sumptuously designed, great story, just a very unique standout film, and I couldn't put one over the other, so I had to give it a tie.
That's fair.
Yep.
Tough but fair.
Number 8 for you?
Number 8 for me, Kingsman.
Ooh, fun. Good stuff.
More Bond than Bond. That's it.
Yep.
It's like, you got, Colin Firth fucking being
kicking
ass, and you believe it. Great action sequences, great one-shots. The fun of Bond, the gadgetry of Bond, the lore is great, with all Knights of the Round Table, and it's an independent intelligence agency. It's just a fucking fun movie, and it's totally great.
With a cheekiness that's missing in Bond,
right?
I would say,
and also
very cheeky,
and also a willingness to go further, right? It's like it could be super violent. It could be there's a little bit of nudity. Yeah. They could swear, like it's a little bit of political stuff in it. You know what I mean? It's just great.
Plus, I love when they reveal. It's like this tense dinner, and then they reveal they're having McDonald's. It's like that was. And how did McDonald's ever approve anything to be in that movie?
Right. They're like, fuck you guys, we're doing it anyways.
So we'll
do it live. Fuck it.
And that's what makes it great.
Yep. Number 7.
Number 7, I got Ridley Scott's The Martian.
Interesting.
Just, again, another Speaking Cinema episode we did. Mm-hmm. Huge crowd pleaser. Just, a great story about the resilience of humanity through science, through just our can-do attitude, but in a way that wasn't cloying and in a very epic, interesting story. Just a fantastic film. I can't wait to watch it again. Saw it twice in theaters.
No, did you?
Did.
I was there that first time.
Yep, you were not there that second time.
I was not. Number 7 for me, Trumbo.
Oh, interesting. I did not see Trumbo.
You didn't see Trumbo?
Did not.
It's a great Oscars kind of movie where it's a movie about movies. It's a movie about the movie industry. It's a movie about a guy.
People are doing impressions of famous people,
right?
In a way.
Yeah, exactly. No, totally.
But hopefully embodying them and not doing an impression.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a really interesting movie about personal freedom and fucking Bryan Cranston. He's just the best.
Good in everything.
Yeah, he's just the best. Like killing it.
Love it. Number 6, I have the one movie that broke me down in tears, Pixar's Inside Out, number 6.
Interesting.
Again,
broke you down in tears, number 6.
We're getting there. Again, a revolutionary story, really explain how sadness becomes a part of your life, which is something I feel no children's movie, let alone too many movies, explore.
Yes.
So I think it was a deceptively deep film and just beautifully made. So Pixar, you win again.
Mm-hmm. For me, number 6, we're seeing it now for the second time on our collective list, Crimson Peak.
There we go.
Gothic horror movie on a scale that we might never see again until horror movies become much more popular than they are now. Guillermo del Toro doing what he wants to do, making a fairy tale, sprawling, epic, beautiful, scary horror movie. I gotta give it up to him. You know what I mean? Gory.
Great gore.
Didn't do well financially, but didn't. It underperformed, but it didn't do terribly. But I don't give a shit about any of that. Yep. The movie, I wanted to see that horror movie, and it was made.
And seeing it in IMAX was fantastic. We saw it at Grauman's Chinese. It was just a sumptuous, beautiful film.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna get to the top 5 now. I really struggled with the hierarchy of this top 5, and even looking at it now, I just made a change, and I am sure in 10 minutes it'll be different than this. But
I admit this was a tough year for me as well to do this, because there's a lot of movies kind of jockeying in the same emotional frame for me. So, but regardless, here's the top 5. In top 5, I got 8 of them. That's The Hateful Eight at top 5. Quentin Tarantino's violent, nasty Western.
Interesting.
That's my pick.
It's a good pick.
Yep.
Solid pick. Number 5 for me. So you did 8.
Yep.
I did 7. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. It got. Listen, Star Wars is in some ways it's like it's the it literally is the biggest franchise of all time. In some ways, it'll never die, but. There's just as before this movie came out, there's just as many terrible movies as there were great movies, right? So now the franchise is back on track, and a lot of people, I think that everyone obviously loved it because of the amount of money it makes. People have to love it to see it that many times because you can't make that much money and have people see it just once. But there's some criticism coming out that it's too much of a rehash or it's too goofy or whatever. But it's like from a craft point of view, if you got to make Star Wars, Kev, you got to make Star Wars. There's 3 movies that are not funny that dive off into weird territory about things that we don't care about in the Star Wars universe that make everything smaller, right? Where it's like, hey, remember Stormtroopers turned out they were all Boba Fett's. Hey, remember Boba Fett turned out he has a dad named Jango Fett. Hey, remember R2-D2 and C-3PO turns out they were bought and created by fucking Anakin Skywalker. Too small, right? Yep. So this movie brings it back to being big. We're introducing new characters. We're introducing... And then at the same time, though...
New characters that we care about.
Right.
Key point.
And we're going to similar tropes, an isolated person on a desert planet. These are things that are endemic in the Star Wars things, but it's kind of like you had to build it back up. Mm-hmm. Let's look at our episode for all of our thoughts on this. But
yeah, J.J. Abrams great at the setup. Again, I cared about the new characters. I cared about... It just felt like a Star Wars movie. That's why I put it at number 4.
Oh!
Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Nice. Anything else you want to add to that? I
mean, again, listen to the episode, but it's just I felt like I was 10 years old watching it, and it was a great experience in the theater. I've seen it twice already. Loved it both times. Can't wait to watch it again. It just an unenviable task of having to make a Star Wars movie in the 21st century, and JJ knocked it out of the park.
Totally.
One of the best of the year.
Absolutely. Number 4 for me was The Martian, making its second appearance on our collective top 10 list.
Excellent.
Everything you said. A movie that is positive and earns a humanity. In a world, we live in a world with a lot of negative shit goes on, with a lot of negative reporting going on. And this is a movie that is so sugary in terms of its positivity that you think it would hurt your teeth, but it's done in a way where you just love it. You know what I mean? It is a delicious chocolate cake of a movie. It earns everything that it does. There's low lows and high highs, and everything in the middle is great. So
yeah, what I love about it is most survival movies take the whole movie to get to the I'm not gonna die point. Like, I'm gonna survive this. The Martian does that in the first 20 minutes. And then it's the process of doing it. It's a fantastic film.
And I mean, Matt Damon, absolutely kills it. The Ridley Scott and his direction absolutely kills it. There's never a moment you feel like any of this is fake or shitty. And also the rest of the supporting cast also kills it.
Yeah.
And it's a great ensemble piece. It's a great individual movie. It's a great sci-fi movie.
A lot of good ensemble cast this year. Spotlight, Hateful Eight, Martian. I've got another one coming up. Not to spoil it. But it's not number 3, because number 3 gave me the biggest sense of dread I've had in a movie in a very long time. It Follows. Number 3. This is the best horror movie I've seen in so long I don't even remember.
And definitely of this year.
No question of this year. It's just, to use that as like a metaphor for sexual assault, to explore a very hot topic in a very interesting, creative way. And then there's a great score. It's shot extremely well. The cast of very young actors are very good. I can't believe that's only his second film.
Yeah.
So, number 3, It Follows.
Number 3, It Follows.
Yeah! 3 buddies.
Everything you just said, it's definitely the best horror movie of the year. And it's everything that's right about horror, where you can use the genre to explore a topic. In this case, our interpretation of the movie was sexual violence within the family unit, or abuse or something of that nature. Also a coming of age story, and again, like The Martian, it's a teenage movie, but it's also a teenage story. So it earns it all. You know what I mean? And a cast of relatively unknown people, Mika Monroe,
getting big,
totally great. Really, again, I think some people, will shit on the acting because it's horror, and horror is about mystery, and horror is about insecurity, and horror is about sadness, and, people don't necessarily want to watch a movie about all those things. But I think she really kills it, even in comparison to, not even contemporaries, but you look at, I think this performance is on league with, Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. You know what I mean? I think it's just
absolutely.
a classic execution. So,
and people are still talking about It Follows. It came out in April.
Yeah,
May.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
People loved it. People hated it. People defended it, and it's ended up on a list. It sure as hell is on mine.
Yep. Number 2.
Talking about ensemble cast. This film, on top of having a great ensemble, has a great attitude of anger, frustration, and the best look at modern day America I think we've had in a while, and that's Adam McKay's The Big Short.
Oh, interesting. I have not seen this.
I got to go to a Q&A with Adam McKay for this. So
Those fucking landmark Q&As.
the benefits of living in a big city, folks. I just found this film to be very fresh, a very new take on the Wall Street story, which I feel has gone kind of stale. Just full of just piss and vinegar and anger at the system, but also very funny and very entertaining and informative about just what happened during the 2008 crisis. And it's just a stunning film from the guy who made Step Brothers. He made a Wall Street epic to end all Wall Street epics. So I highly recommend it. Great cast.
Very Interesting. Number 2, and I really struggle with my 1 and 2. You know what I mean? I struggle with all 5, but 1 and 2 were, that was like, fuck. Number 2, Inside Out.
All right.
I love animation. We both love animation. It's might be the best movie of the year on paper. It's a true engine of human empathy, which I believe is what Roger Ebert said about movies.
Yeah.
It is a movie.
A machine that generates empathy.
Yeah. This movie is about humanity. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? There's fucking a little kid, there's hockey, there's emotions in her head, there's all this, but it's also brilliantly executed. Sometimes the girl leads the emotion, sometimes emotion leads the girl. It lives in this space. It's, I don't know. It's just, it's about, it doesn't suffer what most people hate about kids movies, which is like, it doesn't suffer dumbness. It's like a critical look at like, what the point of sadness is. There's no mediocrity in this movie. It's attempting to have critical thinking. And I don't know, it's just, it's so good I can barely talk about it.
I highly recommend everybody watch the Blu-ray special features.
Interesting.
And you'll see just how many iterations this story went through before Pixar locked down what they were going to talk about. They really had to work through it. And like come up with concepts and completely scrap them, and they kind of figured out what they wanted to say as they went through an emotional experience, and like had their own emotionally draining experiences trying to tell this movie, and then found the core of it. It's just a fascinating look at the creative process. If that's your number 2, I have a feeling I know what your number 1 is, and it might be the same as my number 1.
Go ahead.
The best film of 2015, Kevin Merritt edition, is Mad Max Fury Road. This movie, if it was a heavy metal song, it'd be The Thing That Should Not Be by Metallica. This movie should not exist. It's too cool. It's too out there. It's too bizarre. It shouldn't exist. But it does, and it's great, and nobody has as unhinged a vision as George Miller had for this. He went out to the desert with $150 million and a bunch of fucked up cars and made one of the best action movies of all time. It's, to accomplish that in 2015, to accomplish that in any year, is completely fantastic. To make it a masterpiece of action is even harder. And he pulled it off. This movie's going to be in the cultural lexicon for a very long time.
Interesting. Also, fun fact, came out the same weekend as Pitch Perfect 2.
There you go.
My number 9 movie. Well, and while Pitch Perfect 2 won the box office weekend, Mad Max Fury Road is my number 1 movie of the year as well.
Yes! It's unanimous, folks.
And for every reason that you just said, it's too weird, epic, and awesome to not be number 1. It's an $150 million art house summer blockbuster action movie with as much... for as many explosions as there are, there's an inverse amount of not talking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's just, it's super tense. The first half is a race. The second half is a chase. And it's a movie that operates, it's almost an unbelievable movie. It doesn't feel compromised in any way. It's also a distant sequel. So it's like it fits into a lot of trends of what's going on now, but doesn't feel that way at all. It's just a strange fucking movie that's totally great and totally awesome. And I really struggle because I think Inside Out is a much more of a movie about like, you know, relevant stuff into my life, you know what I mean? But I can't not give it to Mad Max. It's just too good.
It's an unbridled vision of which you rarely get to see.
Right.
And the fact that it even exists.
And there's so many, again, distant sequel, replacing the main cast member, you know what I mean? Like, it's just there's so many things that they did that was just like, wow, this thing's probably going to be a disaster.
I remember when this was rumors, like, oh, George Miller's out in the desert making Mad Max 4.
Yeah, you know? And I was ignoring those rumors. I'm like, no.
And that's what I thought. I was like, this isn't going to get made.
Yeah.
And then that Comic-Con trailer came out.
And you're like, holy shit.
Fuck, I hope that movie's as good as that trailer. And by God, it was.
So there you go. The Speaking Cinema,
that's our
Serious
top
Movie
10.
Jibber Jabber, Movie of the Year.
Mad Max,
Fury
Road. George Miller, Tom Hardy, Charlize Theron. Buy it. Just go buy it. Blind buy it. Spend $40 on it. I don't care.
Yeah,
See it.
I'd say you don't need to spend $40. There's no reason why it should be $40.
You don't need to.
Right, but yeah, that's the movie of the year, hands down. Oh, man. Well, we're going to keep the Hoedown going with our next set of accolades. The Jibber Jabber Golden Dachshund Awards.
Yeah.
There's some categories here. We just made them up. We're going to pick winners. Not at all random or arbitrary for these not at all random or arbitrary categories for 2015. So, who gets a chance to raise our wieners this year?
Let's do it. Let's raise some wieners.
Best individual scene.
So I had a few that I was working through. I had
Were they all Mad Max Fury Road? every scene in the movie?
I had the opening car chase in Fury Road.
And I had...
But that's not my pick.
Okay.
I'm saying, there's a few scenes I was working through. Opening car chase in Mad Max. Oscar Isaac's dance scene in Ex Machina, which is just...
Great. These are great nominees.
It's just a strange little weird
moment
thing in the middle, but it's perfect for that film. Han Solo's death in Episode 7.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, you should know that by now. The Opera House sequence in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. But I'm giving it to a much smaller, quieter scene, and that's Steve Carell's final scene in The Big Short, which is him, a cell phone, and a coffee cup. And it's one of the most devastating scenes that I've ever seen in my life. Do you want me to...
Yeah, go and get into it. Spoilers for...
So The Big Short, again, it's a story about a bunch of short sellers who basically bet on the U.S. economy to fail so that they can make massive profits. The movie goes through it. The U.S. economy does fail. They have to do one more thing before they can cash out. And Steve Carell is the head of like a hedge fund or an investment firm, and he has to make that decision. But he's kind of been the moral center in this movie, talking about how fraud has never worked and all these things, how the system is corrupt and how if we do this, we're as bad as the guys on Wall Street. And it's the guy on the other end of the phone saying, if we're going to cash out, we got to do it now. And like the sense of hurt and dread that he goes through and doesn't say a single word until he tells him to go ahead and sell. And he knows he sold his soul to the devil, basically. It's a devastating scene, and it's stuck with me so long, and that's my pick for scene of the year.
Interesting. My scene of the year, I have written down Mad Max - all, but if I had to put it to an actual scene, I would say the chase where they're going from the desert back the way they came back to the Citadel with
the last chase.
Yeah, the last chase. The last is basically a race.
Yeah.
With all of the women that they've picked up, that's the fucking scene.
Right. Then climaxing with Immortan Joe's mask getting ripped off.
Yes.
Is fucking good.
Yep. A controversial category that we'll move on to: worst movie of the year. On the Jibber Jabber, we're not really about the negativity. You can see the fact that most movies that I feel like this year's been a really good year for movies for me. I watched a lot of stuff that I liked.
Oh yeah, I did too.
So, but if we had to pick a worst movie, what would you pick?
I didn't have one for a bit until I saw this one.
I know what you're talking about.
To define what I think is a bad movie. Mm-hmm. I'll watch Plan 9 from Outer Space all the time. That movie's bad, but it's entertaining. To me, the movies I hate the most are the ones that think they're great or are made by very talented people but are very stupid.
Birdman.
Hold on. You say Birdman, I say this year. Well, Birdman was last year.
Yep.
Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu, which I like that film.
Sure. I
hated The Revenant.
Hated
it. Formless, stupid, exploitative. Boring.
Boring. Interesting.
Just an absolute... You had unlimited resources and all the clout in the world with your best director Oscar, and you made this. I was just extremely disappointed. And just felt it was an absolute garbage film and really did not like it.
Interesting. You didn't. Do you want to go any specifics or?
They try to go for a tone that's visceral, like nature is just visceral, and it just ends up being gross and over the top. Mm-hmm. Like not.
Which is interesting because if something goes a little bit over the top or a little bit gross, normally you're not a man that necessarily would be put off by that in and of itself.
But the tone of this movie is trying to be so serious. There is not one moment of levity in this thing, which is fine, But the way they do it, it's eye-rollingly stupid. Like, there's a scene where he rides his horse off of a cliff. The horse dies. A storm suddenly comes in, and he guts the horse, tears out all of its organs. We see all this on camera. Tears all the organs out, strips naked, and sleeps in the horse, like, through the night. And it's just the way they do it, and this is at, like, 2 hours and 12 minutes into this thing. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, it's so much. And it's just, it doesn't hit like, oh, this guy's having a hard scrabble time. It's like, this is just you trying to be super tough and cool, and it's just not working at all. So I was just very appalled by this movie and the way it moved and the story and the characters. The Revenant, my pick for Worst of the Year.
Interesting. I have a tie for mine. It's a tie between 50 Shades of Grey and Cinderella.
50 Shades of Grey is coming up for me, but for a different reason.
So, 50 Shades of Grey, I feel like the representation... I'm all for a movie about...
the dark side of things.
Not even a dark side of thing. Maybe subculture, right? Because I don't BDSM. Listen, I'm not a practitioner of such a thing, but I understand. Like, it's like an endorphin rush, right? And I think there's lots of judgment when it comes to it. Like, people think that it's intrinsically abusive or intrinsically disgusting or something, but it's the sexual equivalent of a roller coaster ride or a haunted house, right? Some people like. I'm a guy who likes a haunted house. I hate fucking roller coasters. I believe you're a guy who likes roller coasters and haunted houses.
Oh yeah.
And then there's someone like Emily who loves roller coasters but not haunted houses, right? These are all in a way our brain. There's a couple wires in our brain. You got both wires. I got one. She has the other one, right? It's just how it is. So, but I feel like what they showed in this movie was like an abusive relationship to the guys at BDSM, and then there's this weird thing that the movie does where she's like, well, I'll do this for this guy, but eventually he'll grow tired of it and then we'll just be together forever. And it's like, that is just so stupid and not based in any actual reality. It might be based on emotional reality, but the movie does not pull it off.
No.
And it's just, the movie feels like a goddamn mess. And from everything I learned about it, like there's a Script Notes podcast and the writer was on it, and she, at a certain point she was like, oh, they're not going to fire me and they're not going to stop the movie because the Audi cars are coming on this day and the helicopter has been rented and all of the product placement and all these other things. It's all happening, right? The movie has to happen. And then it kind of explains what happened, right? Where it's just like, no one actually wants to make this movie, but we're all in too deep to get out.
Yeah, it's like the two leads hated each other.
Yeah. Oh, and that dude fucking sucked.
Oh, he was terrible.
Yeah, that actor talking shit. He's like, oh, I went to a BDSM club and I had to take a shower. I couldn't even touch my kid afterwards. And it's like, it's just like, I mean, then don't be in this movie, dude.
Yeah, then just say no.
I lost all respect for that guy.
Yeah.
So
fuck you.
Although I do like the girl. What's her name?
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, she's still good in my book.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that movie really fucks up showing that he can have normal sex. Mm-hmm. But I think you get a much more powerful story if he can only get off by doing the BDSM stuff. Mm-hmm. But it shows him like having perfectly normal sex. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. And never mind that it's amateurishly made. Although, hey, Washington State University's in it. Go Cougs.
Speaking of amateurishly made, Cinderella, Bobo CG. I mean, and listen, both ultimately the takeaway. I could just stop talking about this now. The takeaway is neither of these movies are really well made in terms of just on a technical level. They both kind of ebb and flow in terms of tone. Cinderella has a lot of Bobo CG, but at the end of the day, they're movies that. It's on me, because these are not movies made for me. These are movies, 50 Shades of Grey was made for an older female crowd, and Cinderella was made for kids, and really children, right? It wasn't a family movie. Yeah. And I kind of went in expecting both of them to cater to me, and they weren't going to do that. So, it's a relative worst movie of the year.
It's interesting, because a few lists I've read have Cinderella in their top 10.
Top 10 best?
Best.
Crazy.
Yep. Some people are really enchanted by that thing.
But if you love Cinderella, the thing is, that's a good point though. I have no nostalgia for Cinderella. I didn't grow up watching Cinderella, so to me, this is like, oh, this is just a worse version of a cartoon that I need to watch instead. Yeah. It's like, why haven't I watched this cartoon yet?
Exactly.
Go ahead. So, next category: the Neutral President Honorary Nonplussed Award. movie that you had no strong feelings about.
The neutral president from Futurama.
Yeah.
Of course.
All I know is my gut tells me maybe.
If you see my wife, tell her I say hello. The neutral president, everybody. My pick for the Nonplussed Award is The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Guy Ritchie's film, Armie Hammer, Henry Cavill.
Yep.
Fun movie. It was fine, but I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was just kind of there. It occupied me for 2 hours, and I wasn't offended by it. So yeah, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I have a tie for this movie. The first one, Poltergeist, a horror movie for children, but like children who don't really like horror movies.
Yep, I was there too. I also nonplussed.
Yeah, just kind of like not boring. Like I was interested to see how it ended, but yeah, at the end of the day, just something that's going to be forgotten.
Yep.
Other one is Magic Mike XXL. Again, another movie not made for me, but I went and saw it, and it's just it has a really weird tone and kind of some strange acting. It takes a long time to get going, not offensively so, and I do like that there's a movie out there basically eye candy for women. I think that's a good thing in general, but for me, it was just kind of like there's definitely no stakes to this movie, and definitely not much of an ending. It just kind of ends. You know what I mean? But Magic Mike.
There you go.
XXL. Best movie-going experience.
Mine was 50 Shades of Grey. But here's why. You were there.
Because
We went to the Benson interruption version of 50 Shades of Grey, where comedian Doug Benson and his friends do a live, silly commentary over terrible movies. And it was so much fun. And 50 Shades of Grey was the perfect movie for that. So yeah, 50 Shades of Grey.
See, I just didn't like that movie enough where, to me, I was just like, I just want to get out. You know,
Oh, you didn't even you didn't even want to see what Sarah Silverman was going to say next?
Well, and I was also kind of like she at one point was like, so what, he gets off on punching, hitting a girl, and it's like, yeah, but it's not about, it's like, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not about injuring someone. It's about the rush of what they're, you know what I mean? It's just
Sure.
She didn't really get the BDSM part. And I'm I didn't come here to watch someone else's sexuality be judged. I'm not really interested in that kind of narrative.
Okay.
I mean, they're making jokes and it was funny, but it just, the movie was so bad that it really took out the experience. Because at a certain point, they got kind of bummed out. They're like, man, this scene is still going.
Oh, the best was Sarah Silverman goes, God, I'm so tired of this girl's tits. Sorry, I had a great time at that. So yeah, 50 Shades of Grey was my best experience this year.
Mad Max.
Also great. I would also honorable mention Star Wars opening night. That was a great crowd, fulfilling what we've wanted for so long, which is a new Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So
Hot crowds. Movie that everyone else liked that you just didn't.
Slow West.
What is this?
It was a Western out of New Zealand. It's got Michael Fassbender, Ben Mendelsohn, Cody Smith-McPhee, and everybody was raving about this thing. And I finally got on Netflix, and I didn't hate it, but I was just like, why did this resonate with anybody? It's just it's like a weird little Western where not much happens until the end, and even then not much happens. So I was like, I don't know. I didn't see what everybody else saw in it.
Mine was, and I'm sad to say, What We Do in the Shadows.
I agree. Yep.
Just wasn't, and it made a lot of, I was in this podcast, Killer POV, which I really like, and it was a couple people's, it was definitely everyone's top 10, some people's number 1 movie, and to me, it just wasn't funny enough, And
it was like chuckles, not belly
laughs,
ever. The only funny joke in that is when he's like, why do we drink virgin blood? Sounds cool.
Yeah.
That was the one good joke,
yeah.
I thought.
There's lots of little things, but
again, for as much as people said, oh my god, this movie's hilarious, I was also very but it was funny.
All right, so getting away from this sadness, let's go into a more positive light. What movie you missed out on but still want to see and watch eventually?
I've got a couple that came out this year. One is a movie from Russia, I believe. It's called Hard to Be God. It's like a 3-hour black and white dystopian sci-fi that just looks amazing. And then a documentary called The Look of Silence, which is a sequel to the documentary The Act of Killing, which that is a fascinating documentary. And I wanted to see the sequel, just never got around to it.
Interesting. I have more than a couple.
Oh boy. Strap in, everybody. That's us strapping in.
Krampus, Anomalisa, Mordecai, Dope, Tangerine, Sleeping with Other People, Bone Tomahawk, The Duff, Road Hard, Run All Night, The Final Girls, Trainwreck, Divergent, Insurgent, I believe, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2, Tomorrowland, The Lobster, Sicario, Youth, Amy, Cartel Land, Ricky and the Flash, Straight Outta Compton, American Ultra, Sinister 2, Hitman Agent 47, Hitchcock Truffaut, Maze Runner, Scorch Trials, Hotel Transylvania 2, Goosebumps, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, Deathgasm, Creed, Victor Frankenstein's Sisters, Concussion, The Revenant, The Hive, The Green Inferno, Tales of Halloween, Last Shift, Christie, Turbo Kid, The Nightmare, Let Us Pray, Suburban Gothic, Spring, The Night Before, He Never Died.
I would go see Hitchcock Truffaut, The Scorch Trials. That sounds fun. It's a good list. There's a couple in there that I wanted to see too.
Well, hit me up, homie. Let's fucking rent these.
All right, we'll do it. Movie night.
Movie Club. Best Speaking Cinema Regular Listener Award.
Giving a shout out to Jake Allen out there and a couple more people in my work. Never mind. Just Jake Allen. Jake Allen and my girlfriend Christy Moylan, regular listeners to Speaking Cinema. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, I want to thank anyone who listens. Love you, bros. Love you every day.
We appreciate you taking the time to hear us jibber jabber.
Mm-hmm.
Always. We're coming back next year.
Yeah, we're coming back.
We got lots planned.
So those are your 2015 Golden Dash Hounds.
Yep.
Let's give a hand to our raised wieners.
Your wieners have been raised.
Terrible. So this is not a reward, but we're just gonna wrap it up with some things looking forward to in 2016. Big year for movies. Anything that you're looking forward to next year?
Top 3 I'm looking forward to. Hail Caesar.
Yo, me too.
Obviously a new Coen Brothers movie. I'm gonna be there opening day. Star Wars Rogue One, because it just sounds interesting. I'm curious to see how the style is gonna be different from the main saga. And then Leica's new film Kubo and the Two Strings.
Interesting. Some of those
Very good.
Some of those were on my list too, and I will speak onto my list right now. The Forest, Dirty Grandpa, Hail Caesar, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Deadpool, How to Be Single, The Witch, London Has Fallen, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Zootopia, Divergent, Allegiant, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2, Batman vs. Superman, Green Room, The Boss, The Huntsman, Winter War, Ratchet and Clank, Captain America Civil War, X-Men Apocalypse, Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, Connor for Real, Central Intelligence, Ghostbusters, Star Trek Beyond, Bourne 5, Suicide Squad, Kubo and the Two Strings, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Rogue One, Assassin's Creed, Passengers, Gambit, and Rob Zombies 31. Not confirmed for this year, Rob Zombies 31. Hopefully it comes out this year.
You can watch Batman vs. Superman right now.
It's called that trailer?
It's called that trailer, motherfucker. Well, let's just show everybody that Redacted is in this movie.
I'm going to watch it. I know I'm going to watch it, so I can't lie to myself and tell me I'm not going to watch it. I'm definitely going to watch Suicide Squad because that looks great. But, this is not all of these are happy things I know that I'm going to watch. You know what I mean? But, I'm really looking forward to The Witch. Really looking forward to it.
Cool.
I'm worried that I'm not going to see London Has Fallen. Just worried that's not going to get around to it. But I'm probably going to go see Ghostbusters because that looks funny.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
I watched the special features of that Spy and that director
Paul Feig.
Dude.
Feig or Feig. Yeah.
I have all the faith in the world that the movie's going to be good now. Because he's just, they get the shot and then he just starts yelling out things at them. Like alternate lines. And they're like, I can't say this. And he's like, yes, you can. And then they just start doing them. It's going to be good. Any bucket list classic movies you want to finally check off the list next year?
I desperately finally want to check off Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's tough to find. The DVD is not on Netflix. As far as I know, it's not streaming anywhere. And there was one time last year where there was a midnight show at Cinefamily, and I was out of town, and I missed it.
To Amoeba. I will watch that with you if you want to watch it.
Let's do it.
I got 4. I'm gonna keep this list is gonna be just 4. Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, we're doing that.
Spartacus, Big Lebowski. I've never seen.
Yeah.
And Nosferatu the Vampire.
The OG 1920s one or the Werner Herzog?
Werner Herzog, bitch. Come on.
I haven't seen the Werner Herzog version. I've seen OG 20s version.
I want to watch a vampire story as told by a madman. Any other mediums, books, musics whose 2015 greats you want to recognize on this episode?
I'm going to recognize Lemmy Kilmister.
Yeah.
That new Motorhead album that came out this year, Bad Magic, is a fucking great album. Regardless if Lemmy had died or not. It's just a great rock and roll record. One of their best albums they've ever done, I would say. And, Lemmy was the greatest and will live on forever. And we got to go to a Motorhead show this year.
We did, which was very good. I'm really glad we went because I
was originally contemplating it, and I said to myself, you gotta see the legends when they come, while they're still around. And we did, and it was great. It was loud as shit. It was wild, but fuck, it was fun.
Yeah.
And the world's just a little shittier than now that Lemmy's gone.
It's true. It's a band because they were such a touring band that, you can always see them next time. And they'll be back in 2 years.
Yep.
But not anymore.
So yeah, a little pour out for Lemmy.
Yeah, I was driving on the Grapevine and my girlfriend told me that. She's like, Kev just texted you. He said Lemmy's dead. I'm like, what?
Yep.
And she's like, who's Lemmy? And I'm like, who's Lemmy?
I was working out, doing some cardio, and my landlord, who I'm friends with, and we listen to lots of heavy metal together, called me and said Lemmy's died. And I'm like panting and sweaty from cardio. I took a shot of Jack Daniels.
Many people did.
That was a mistake, but I did it for Lemmy. Lemmy would have wanted it that way. So, yeah, shout out to Lemmy. Shout out to Motorhead's Bad Magic album. Great album.
Well, I will make a concession for what you just said. There's nothing else I want to promote. I just like movies, bro. I don't mess around with the bullshit.
That's your jam, baby.
I will put over, now that I've said that, though, I will put over The Flash and the Green Arrow show on the CW. Those shows are delicious.
Someday I will watch them.
You should.
Someday. Someday.
One day. That's it for us. Hope you enjoyed this year's Hoedown. We'll be back Jibber Jabber 2016 on film, Hot Sauce, The Universe, and we'll be back one calendar year from now and do the 2016 in review.
Yep, that'll be our second annual Hoedown. That'll be great.
Yep. Maybe we'll do a mid-year hootenanny.
Ooh, I'm down for a mid-year hootenanny.
If anyone wants us to cover anything, any films or theme suggestions you want to send it to us, Twitter, Facebook, probably the best ways to get to us. Not going to be checking the messenger on the Tumblr. This is not what I'm about. So, we'll listen to whatever, judge them accordingly. Kev, you wrote this episode. That's who wrote this episode. Kev, our music's by Jeff Russell. I'm Mr. Jibber Jabber. Hosted this. Kev, you also hosted this. Everyone fucking go out and watch Mad Max. That's the best movie of the year.
Watch everything. Watch everything you can. Make it your experience.
Yeah, why not?
And have a happy fucking New Year.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Have a happy New Year. And keep going to the movies, everybody.
Keep going.
See you next time.